if you can heal somebody else, if you can help someone else, there are statistics that show it helps you 100x by helping somebody else. You're helping them, but it's helping more you. And so people who actually, it's interesting. I read a study years ago on this. I really didn't have parents. Nobody really raised me, and that's another long story. But people I find who didn't have parents who do everything for them are actually more empathetic. And the reason why is because they don't depend on their parents for love. The way they get love is from other people. The way they get love from other people is by doing things for them.
Interesting.
And so people who actually do more for others are ones that perhaps didn't have everything done for them. And I was very mindful about that when I raised my children. I gave them unconditional love, but I didn't do everything for them. I wanted them to do things for themselves. And I wanted them to understand that to give, right, you were actually going to receive 10x. And that was an important part. Now, granted, my children are all different. And that's because their DNA is all different. And some of them are a little bit more empathetic than others. Some of them are a little more selfless than others. It comes in, right?
Sure.
But that's just that's our makeup, and there's nothing we can do about that. But they're kind. And everyone says to me all the time, your children are like really decent human beings. And I really believe it's because they've had to earn and learn confidence. I wasn't going to serve it up for them. And so I always tell parents, don't smother your love. Don't let your love smother your children. Let them elevate, right? Yeah. But they have to learn how to give to others.
And that's one thing I observe a lot, and a lot of parenting, like biggest parenting mistake is trying to protect children from the world a little bit too much. So by the time they are in the real world, they are not equipped with anything. It's similar, and trying to clean the physical environment. If we get rid of all bacteria, there are like moms, like germophobic moms who's using Clorox everywhere, and these children's immune systems are not developing, so they get sick all the time and they get out of the house. In a similar ways, we need psychological bacteria around, and like difficulties, challenges as a kid growing up, and in terms of relationships especially, it takes work, it takes understanding to make a relationship work. Absolutely. And if in parent-child relationship the child doesn't have to do anything, during certain things, they are having a lot of difficulty.
Sure,
they building friendships.
Yes, they leave for college also,
yeah.
And all of a sudden they don't know what the heck they're to do. And the one thing I was asked years ago about what was the number one attribute that I look for in founders. Okay, it's the number one, and my answer was, this is the number one attribute that I wanted to instill in my children, and it's confidence. Because if my children feel like they can rely on themselves, not me, but rely on themselves, then they'll trust their instincts, then they'll trust, right, and they'll be responsible. And so confidence is a big part of all this.